not getting you. Hold it 1 second. Steve, I need you to log in and log back out. For some reason you're not coming through in Video Ninja. I see that I'm live. I don't see you though, Steve. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to re-add your view link. Hold it 1 second.
Good morning from Quasar Markets Live. Here we are going once again to the day. We have Howard Greenberg, our live host today. So Howard, take us to the start here, man. What's going on in the markets today?
How we doing today, Steve? It's great to see you. Welcome to Quasar Markets Live. We are looking to open up a little bit on the red side, it looks like, this morning. A couple of news things I was watching from last night. JD.com has moved up about 5% here overnight. In the pre-market, as they've announced a $5 billion buyback there, those always seem to help the market, huh?
You know, when you look at buying and you look at the selling and you ask the question, you know, what catalyst moved the market, and nothing moves the market in catalyst more than IPOs, because that gets people excited about the markets. It gets people excited about new things that are coming out. You know, we have over 9,000 things to trade and buy and sell and in the stock market. And look, we always want one more thing, and that's what IPOs do here.
Yeah, speaking of IPOs, we've seen a bunch of delays lately on the IPO market as some volatility's hitting the market. The Fed, people seem to be, waiting for those rates to come down. And, the election year, what are you seeing there on that side, Steve?
Oh, election year always gets people pumped up. I think you've got a few things going on here. I think if you have to look from the Republican side or Democrat side, you have to look at what stocks that they actually have, right? Obviously, if the Democrats win, electric vehicles are a big deal. If you're looking at from the Republican side, obviously you're looking at Raytheon and General Motors and things of that nature. But yeah, we're looking at the markets pretty clearly. And obviously, politics plays a role when it comes to that. But hey, we've got a few more months before the election, and there's jitters out there. I think those jitters are coming today with NVIDIA. Their earnings. So the last time that NVIDIA had earnings, the stock kind of fell a little bit and then came right back up roaring. So, and then Denver won the stock split. So look, it's about to happen again. NVIDIA's earnings, and I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, NVIDIA's earnings coming tomorrow. Today, they focus on earnings across the retail sector. We got Nordstrom's, PVH, which is Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger, a bunch of other retail things. But tomorrow really turns to tech, doesn't it? We see, NVIDIA in there. We see CrowdStrike tomorrow. Tech really takes over the earnings calendar tomorrow. And then we go into some economic data. We've got PCE coming up. We've got GDP. A bunch of other data there. Interesting news that I know you like to talk about, Steve, is on the side of cruise ships. RCL announcing a new Icon ship. Well, what do you think about that? They seem to be spending a lot of money. Looks like people are back cruising.
You know, it's interesting. We looked at it from the perspective of the cruise lines back in the COVID time, and look, it fell apart. And if you were, like myself, a buyer of those stocks, you were really, really happy. And now Royal Caribbean has come out of the doldrums, shall we say. And when you're looking at those stocks, you got to look at what I call best in class. And Royal Caribbean has been best in class for a long time, between Carnival and CLH. Look, to me, it's Royal Caribbean all the way. And they also own Celebrity Cruises and a few other cruise lines as well. And when you look at that perspective, they're doing quite well. They went big and they went bigger and they went biggest. Now they have quite a few that are big now. So at this point, Royal Caribbean is kind of running away with the show here now.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think it goes a little bit to what we talked about yesterday. Bigger does seem to be better when it comes to the world of grabbing people's money, whether it's the Sphere in Las Vegas, whether it's Las Vegas's new football stadium. You see what Jerry did with Jerry World. People want bigger, better. They want all the amenities. Otherwise we have so much built in nowadays into our home, whether it be the ability to watch games through so many different channels, so many different places. Same thing with movies. Everybody's TVs are bigger. Everybody's things are better. So that we're definitely seeing an investment when it comes into that part of the infrastructure of companies.
All right. Well, let's see here for a second here. I think what we're going to do here, Howard, for my camera, I think we're going to restart the whole system here.
Okay, give me 1 second to do that for us. I paused the stream, Steve. Sorry, I don't know why it's not taking your camera. Hold it 1 second. I'm going to reset from my side the whole thing. It's still not pulling you in. Okay, welcome back, Quasar Live. I apologize. I have lost Steve here today. We have a little bit of a technical difficulty. I will get that straightened out and be able to get him back in here a little bit later as we are looking at the markets today. Getting ready to open down about 1/4 of a point, it looks like, on the Dow. S&P about the same. NASDAQ a little bit worse off right now, and the stock 600 actually looking like it's going to open about even. As I was talking with Steve a little bit earlier, some of the things I've been looking at so far. We got NVIDIA earnings coming out tomorrow. That seems to have the market in a little bit of a hold and wait pattern right now. We've seen us catch a little bit of a bid in the earlier part of the days, and then we have been slowing down a little bit as we've gotten into the later part of the afternoons, sort of running out of momentum. We do have coming up this week consumer confidence. 10 a.m. tomorrow, so that will be the next big financial data coming out. Today, like we've said, earnings are more focused on the retail side. We do have Nordstrom's, PVH, which is Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger going on. Some of the bigger movers so far today that we've seen, JD.com up about 5% this morning after announcing a pretty big buyback, about $5 billion. We also did see that Walmart surprisingly has divested, has actually sold their shares, their position within JD.com was announced as they are going to look to launch their Sam's Club brand in China. So that will be a little bit interesting to see. Oil prices have dropped a little bit earlier. We'll see how they do at the open here. Let's take a look at the Quasar Live site this morning. Take a look through here. Again, a lot of talk about NVIDIA earnings, home prices. Home prices still outpacing inflation with about a 5.4 annual increase. Definitely one of the bigger parts of inflation we're seeing right now has been on rent and home prices. Quasar news here. We see that Rainier has announced a partnership with Trip.com. We'll see if that starts to move their price at all today. Again, NVIDIA all over the news do think a lot of people are waiting to see how that quarterly report comes out tomorrow. As you can see the news here, take a look at the option chains. Paramount was in the news overnight, as we saw. Edgar Brofman has decided to pull out of the bid there, the open bidding period, and has decided to pass. So it does look like Skydance is going to close that deal and get Paramount. Shares are down about 4.25% this morning on that news. Treasury yields have ticked up a little bit. Monday they settled about 3.82%. Like I said, oil prices have gone down a little bit. Still trading right around $80 a barrel. Did see a couple of their gold prices. Have fallen to about 25.17 here. See momentum on home prices being talked about, losing a little bit of momentum in June. Rate of the year on year increase dropping a little bit there, so maybe getting a little relief here for some home buyers. Interest rates, expected to drop here, or announced that they'll be dropping here over the next month. Powell in his announcement last week. One of the things I did want to walk you through this morning was how easy it is to set up your Quasar Markets website here, how to get your widgets and all that. So I have cleared out a screen here and was going to go through and start to show you how easy it is to actually go ahead and set up your own screen here on Quasar Markets. So all I do is I click here over in the right corner, the little setup button. And to add a widget, you literally just hit that add widget button and you select what you like to look at. So for me, some of the things I'm really a big fan of, as we know, TradingView, and some of the things that they offer. So if I want to put in the ETF heat map, all I do is click it right in there. Resize it to the size that I want it. So if I want a half screen, can just pull, resize it, set to go. Add my next module that I would like in there. So now I want to put in the stock heat map. Add that right in. Again, if I make it to a half screen size, I can simply pull them right next to each other, resize them, and now I've got my heat maps ready to go. If I want to start adding in news, I can go right over to Pluto News, add it in. Next, go right into Saturn News, add that right in. Personally, I like to add my Twitter news in next. I'm going to show you how I resize those and set it up after I get these pulled in. I like to have my market movers in there. next if I want to add in my charting capability. You can see it's really easy just to come right through, select which options you want to have in there. Can add a screener. Quasar's institutional news, can add that right in. So now I've got a pretty decent amount of things in. What I like to do from there is more set up the sizes. I don't need a full screen for everything. So I'll come through, pull some of my news articles next to each other. And you can see you just literally pick it up, slide it where you want it. And now I've got my news next to each other. And it really is that simple. So right there, I've set it up. I've got my news all here at the top of my screen. If I want Saturn, Pluto, Twitter, Quasar, all that news right there in front of myself, easy to pull. Have my screener ready to go next. What do we want to take a look at? You know, we're looking at dividend plays. We want to look at, you know, any of the different screeners here based on income statements, based on the company valuations. We can do that. We've got our chart right here. U.S. market movers in 4 minutes. We'll see if that, what we open at there, that will give us a little bit of a better feel for what's going on in the markets this morning. Take a look here at our Quasar news. Air Canada in the news a little bit here. Some union issues. Okay, 3 minutes to open here. S&P looking down a little bit. Dow Jones, all three major indices looking to open up down. S&P, Dow Jones, and NASDAQ. So we are seeing a little bit of weakness as we start off this morning. We'll see what happens here as we get into the open.